Welcome to Mark's Motivational Podcast, another Authors Tuesday. Today I'm delighted to be joined by another great children's author, Roseanne Hinch, from the United States. When you see her selection of books, they look really, really good. So I'm looking forward to talking to Rose today. So thanks a lot for coming on today, Rose. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Mark, as well. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great to because we might start off the podcast if you like to tell the listeners your interesting writing journey. Yeah, your first children's book that is available now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my name is Roseanne Hinch, and my family calls me Rosie, and my most people know me as Miss Rose because I also run a childcare business for the past 28 years. That's what inspired me to write a book. As you know, when the pandemic hit, it changed the way parents their skill set has changed on how they parent and the way that children react to it. And I noticed this as a childcare business owner that it was very hard for the kids to transition back into playing together, being together. I noticed a lot of separation anxiety. And so as being an educator, I wanted to help these children. And I learned that sometimes it wasn't always the child, sometimes it was the parent that had a little hard time letting go. So I did some research and I tried some tricks and tips on my own to see if I can help these children. And so I tried a couple of different things. And then that's what inspired me to write a book about helping children with separation anxiety. And the name of my book is When Mommy Drops Me Off at School. And it's very unique as my childcare business is. My book is Mommy Dropped Me Off at School. And when you flip it over, the backside is When Daddy Drops Me Off at School. And so I had a chance to write the book was very easy for me because I have been in the setting for many years. I've had over 90 students come across my door. And that might not sound like a lot as an educator, but these children stay with me from 12 weeks old until almost they're 10 years old. So you really get to spend a lot of time and get to know them and their families. And that's what inspired me to write a book, but I didn't know how to publish a book. And I'm already running a business for 28 years. My husband's been helping me for the past 6 years. So we were a husband and wife duo working together. And so that being said, I didn't have the time to learn the technology to how to publish a book. Writing was easy for me. How am I going to publish it? So I decided, since I'm already running a business, that I'm just going to hire somebody to do the work for me. I don't have the time to learn it. Let's hire somebody. So I hired a company that did all of it for me: editing, formatting. They put everything together. They did the illustrations. We worked together. The problem with that, even though it was very exciting as a new author, the problem with that was they had many other authors they were working with. And being a business owner, I like to get things done right away. I like to be in control of when things are going to be done. And this was beyond my control. I have no control on when things were going to get done. And I started getting frustrating because I wanted it done in 33 days, not 165 days. And that part was frustrating. And, you know, if I wanted something fixed, I needed a revision done, I might have to wait 2 weeks. And so that end of it is very frustrating for an author. So I'm going to do it a little different. I'm still learning. 28 years in the childcare business, I'm still learning there too. You know, learn something new every day. That's what started me in pursuing my career as being a children's author.
Yeah, that's absolutely great, Roseanne, and congratulations on your first book. That's amazing, and yeah, it looks really, really good. And can you like you've got in the background there, but would you mind maybe showing people on YouTube the book and maybe reading a little bit about it? Would be great if you wouldn't mind sharing it with people. Would be great.
Great. I'm happy
Yeah.
to do so. So the book is called When Mommy Drops Me Off at School. And there's a little flip. It says the flip book. And when you flip it over, it's When Daddy Drops Me Off at School. So each book has an ISBN, the International Book Standard number. So when you look at the book this way, that's the cover of the book. And then you would think this is the back cover, but it's actually a cover of another book. And then in the center of the book is a workbook, journal, and scrapbook to help little learners and their families with separation anxiety. And so when I wrote this book, I learned that not all families are the same. Not all live with a mommy and a daddy. So I decided that I would put my books together. This is just the mommy version. Maybe you just want a mommy version. So this back looks a little bit different because it doesn't have the daddy side, but it still has a journal and scrapbook at the end of it instead of in the center. And then we also have a daddy version of the book. So this is the daddy version. This one has a little school bus, and then there's the back of it.
Mhm.
And my little blurb for my book is, when daddy drops me off at school, it may be scary learning how to be brave, knowing I'll share my day with him on our way home, helping children with separation anxiety. The little boy in this story is trying to be big and brave, and he's trying to do hard things. And he learns that being brave is doing hard things. And I say to my students, do you ever wake up in the morning and you don't want to get dressed? You want to stay in your pajamas and eat pancakes all day and play all day? And usually when I'm doing that, the parents are all raising their hands. Yes, I do want to stay in bed all day. But
Yeah.
being brave is getting up out of bed and going and doing the hard things. Because if you stayed home with mommy all day long, you have nothing to share at the end of the day. But if mommy goes to work and you go to school or wherever you're going, and at the end of the day, you have something that you can talk about and share together. And that's what being brave is. And that really helps a lot of children with separation anxiety. And this little boy in this story, he's going to learn one of the tools on what he can do to help him be brave. And I'll show you the picture when the light bulb went off in his head. And this is it. He's like, I'm going to be brave tomorrow. And there
Right.
he is trying to be
Brilliant.
brave.
Yeah, that's great.
Tomorrow when I go to school, I'm going to be brave. So that's what he's doing. And then we'll have to see, you'll have to purchase the book to see if you can get a book in your hands to see if you can find out what happened to the boy. Was he brave? We don't know. We have to wait and see. But one thing I started doing with my book as being a child business owner is I started going to conferences as a vendor and selling my a connection with a lot of parents going through the same things that I'm going through with our children that were born in 2020 through the pandemic. It's a whole different way of teaching than I did 10 years ago. And I had to learn all of this. And so one of the conferences I went to, I realized that when I went to the conference, that it was heavy populated, Hispanic populated community. And I could have sold 50 books in Spanish. People came up to me and said, do you have this in Spanish? I have a little boy that speaks Spanish. He doesn't quite know English yet. I need to help him with separation anxiety. And so I said to myself, as an entrepreneur, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get this in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know how to do it. So I reached out to a friend that I knew that spoke Spanish. And she recommended that I get in touch with a professor at a local college university and see if they'd be willing to translate it for me. That's exactly what I did. It took me about 3 weeks to find the perfect fit.
Right.
Found this wonderful, wonderful lady that's a professor at 2 community colleges here in the United States and in the state of Maryland that I live. And I gave her my manuscript and she translated it into Spanish. But do you know what she did? When she gave me the manuscript in Spanish, she didn't write page 1, mommy's taking me to school, and then Spanish underneath it. She just gave me a whole manuscript in Spanish that I had no idea what I was looking at. And their letters are different than the
Yeah.
English language.
Yeah.
So I had to translate each one, put it in a translator, figure out what it was saying, and then hopefully I was typing it up right. And that was very, very stressful because I don't know if I was doing it right. So I had to make sure that that was all correct. And the person I had working with me, the project manager at the time, he didn't speak Spanish. So it was really, really hard. So I had to go over it with a fine tooth comb and figure out how to put it in Spanish. And this is what it looks like in Spanish. There it
Very good.
is.
Very
So the
good.
cover's in
That's great.
Spanish and helping children with separation anxiety. And if you can see here, it says English translated text. So the professor, which was brilliant on her part, I would have never thought about this. Her name is in my book. So I gave her credit in my
Mm.
book, which has been a blessing because she teaches English students Spanish and
Oh,
Spanish
brilliant.
students English. So she's been
Great.
purchasing books for those little ones that I would have had missed that opportunity had I not done it and have not had this book in Spanish. So this book is in Spanish. And when you open it up, so the first page will be in English,
Mhm.
and then underneath it is in Spanish. So if you
Oh,
want to
brilliant.
learn Spanish, you could read and see if how you're doing. And if you want to read it in English and you're a Spanish speaker, you can do that. Even the back on the blurb, everything is in English and in Spanish. And the workbook, journal, and scrapbook in the back are both in English and in Spanish. So I thought that was brilliant to have it in both And that way, if I ever sold out of any of my other books, I could sell this to either English or Spanish learners. So I'm really proud of this book
Yeah.
and
That's
how
great,
it's come.
Roseanne. That's absolutely brilliant. And who done the illustrations for you? The illustrations are really good. Did you
On
do
this
them
one,
yourself?
this book here, it's still based off of the flip book from the first one. So that was
Yeah.
still the project
All right. Yeah.
manager that
Yeah.
I hired. That it was a whole company that did everything together.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
But
Great stuff. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. It's really, really well done. That's great. Yeah.
thank you.
Because that's a great idea. Like, I'm really happy that worked out so well for you, meeting somebody that could translate it for you. That was a really big bonus, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It's
Yeah.
very, very exciting. Very
Yeah.
exciting. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, that's great. And where can people get their hands on your book as well as I'm sure Amazon and are there any local bookshops in your area?
Yes, yes. So can you grab that right there? Oh, let me see if we grab that. I had it there, but we can't see it. So I have a website. It's
Yeah,
for my
right.
business and for my books all together. And
Yeah,
it's roseannehinch.com is my website. You
great.
can
Yeah,
purchase the books through there.
brilliant. Yeah,
Also, I have a little blog on there. And also it's on amazon.com. So you
brilliant.
could purchase the books there. And then also I have personalized autographed books in some bookstores around. So I'm in the state of Maryland. I have my books at Joseph's Toy Box. That's in East Maryland, and they're also in a cute little bookstore in Baltimore, Maryland called Snug Books. And I did a little reading there. I also play the ukulele, so I do a children's musical, and I read my book as well
Great.
on like the
Yeah,
whole package. And then my
great
book
stuff.
is at in Lancaster, Pennsylvania Amish community. It's at Circle M Campground Resort. It's in their trading post, a copy in their Wagon Wheel Lodge. You can see the book there. And then it's in Hokanson, Delaware. There's a little bookshelf there that my book is meet and greet this summer. They're collaborating with a ice cream creamery, and we're going to have a children's story time with two other local readers this summer. And then down by the beach in Delaware called Bethany Beach Books. My book is at Bethany Beach Books in Delaware. And also I for each book that is purchased, I gift a portion of the proceeds to gift John Hopkins Children's Center here in Baltimore, Maryland. They have a wing just for children with separation anxiety.
Wow.
And we
Yeah.
go in December. My book launched last July, so it hasn't been quite a year yet. But in December, we went and made our donation, my husband and I. We got a tour of the hospital. And so those funds will go to those children in the hospital where they could purchase gifts for their family while they're in the hospital
Oh, lovely.
for holiday time. And so because I gift them that, my book is at the John Hopkins Children's Center Library. And we just started a new program. I have a lot of grandparents that will come through at our vendor table and say, I love your book. I love the idea, but my kids are grown and my grandkids are grown. I have nobody to buy it for. So we started a program called The Gift of Kindness. You could purchase a book, and inside the book where I sign my name, we will put this was donated by, and we put that person's name and we save them. And in December, with our proceeds that we're going to give to John Hopkins Children's Center, we will donate all of these books to the children in the hospital. They can have their own copy from that special little angel that gifted them kindness for a book of their own in their hands. And we will honor them that way.
Yeah, that's absolutely lovely. That's really really, really nice thing to do. Yeah, great,
Yes.
great. Yeah. Um, and do you are you in any local libraries as well for people to check out? Are you in libraries in general?
So I haven't hit any of the local libraries yet. There's
Okay,
a couple little protocols that I need to go through
okay.
there, but there's
Yeah,
11 libraries in my county, and I plan to be in there soon. So
yeah,
it's not even been a year yet. So
yeah,
I've done
yeah.
a lot in a year already, but I'll get there in time. They'll all be there to get in the little hands of little learners.
Right. Yeah, because I love the scrapbook side of things. It's really, really clever where they can do different work as well with their parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And the parents, the families, the parents, the children can see the growth and different things that they've tried to help them through separation anxiety, which is very
yeah,
important.
yeah. Definitely, well done. That's really good. Yeah, and what I'll do is if you share all the links, I'll be able to put them on the show notes for people to check out. Like, you can check out all Roseanne's work as well. When you share that with me.
What the links?
Yeah, all the links. Yeah, yeah. When the show is over, you can send me the links by email,
Absolutely.
and I'll be happy to share them for you.
I'd be happy to give them to you. Yes, we're
Yeah.
going to try to get this message to as many little learners as we can. They
Yeah.
need it. They're soaking it up like a sponge, and the parents too.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so that's great, Roseanne. And can I just ask as well, what type of strategy do you use when you're writing your books? And as well as that, kind of have, I'm sure you've got a lot of inspiration from being your job as a school teacher, like a kindergarten teacher.
Yes, mainly it's preschool. I teach a curriculum
Preschool.
through
Yeah,
University of Maryland,
yeah,
and they supply. I went to school. I was trained for it, so we teach 4 and under. And my job and my mission is to get these kids ready for kindergarten. When you and I went to school, it was we went to kindergarten to learn all these things. Now it's expected for them to know it before they go in, and I'm here to do that. The parents are working, and I'm here to do that. And then with my husband being able to help me, he can do all this, all the things that I'm not so creative with. He's a very good teacher in teaching the fundamentals of sports. He teaches all the kids how to play golf. He teaches them the driver, the irons, everything about that, and they go home and really learn the fundamentals of sports, which is important. So they're getting a whole rounded day with us. That's very structured and very loving, and it's a lot of fun. As you can hear, I'm still passionate about it at
of
28
course.
years. I wake up, I never feel like I work a day.
Yeah,
And then after work, I do this. So I work another 3, 4, 5 hours after work doing what I love. And not everybody gets to do that. So I'm very blessed and fortunate that I'm able to do that. So yes, I'd be very happy to give you all the links to pass on. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. And you like your strategy as well, Roseanne, for writing. Would you like? I know that there's not a lot of words in your books, but when would you have the when do you find the time to write your books, and what kind of strategy would you use?
So for me, it's a little bit different than like just it's a little bit different than the traditional author,
Yeah,
I'd like to say,
yeah,
because all of my books are about helping children grow. My Facebook page
yeah,
is helping children grow.
yeah,
I'm here to help children grow. So something will come to me.
yeah,
I'll be struggling. I'll see a child struggling with something, and then I'll look at that for a little while, and it's in the back of my mind. Can I do something to solve this problem? Let's try this. Did that work? Oh, that worked with this child, but it's not going to work the same with another child. So I need to find out why it's not working with another child. So my strategy will be it's in the back of my mind. I'll just start typing things out. I'll get my thoughts in line. And then the next thing you know, I'm like, oh, that came together pretty quick. So yes, there's not a lot of words, and I'll go back and I get it on my head, and I'll change the words around. And my books are all rhyming stories, so
right,
that's a little tricky too. And but I just enjoy doing that. And then over time, I'm like, okay, that's a problem. I can solve it by this. And I have a whole classroom that I can share I
yeah,
shared my book before I shared it
yeah,
with anybody. Hey, are they engaged? Are they listening?
yeah,
Did they get bored with it? And so they're all excited when they come to school and they see my book up on the shelf there. And then I have my author page in there. So they turn the page and see me. They get tickled to be able to see that me.
yeah,
And of course, all the parents purchase a book from me and I sign them for them. But that's my inspiration. And I didn't realize how much support I had until I did this book. I did a launch for my book, first time launch last July, and I had to put it off. I thought it was going to be in June, had to put it off till July, so it was like a quick minute. My book wasn't quite in my hands yet, which was another thing I needed to wait for before I
yeah,
planned and purchased all these things and rented a hall. But we ended up having 100 people at my book launch, and I had 2 people helping me purchase the books, and then I had my book signing, and we sold 84 books in 27 minutes, and we couldn't believe it. All the support that came out. We started doing a toast, and people came up to do a toast, and I had children that I taught that are now in college or married and have their own children that
wow,
came to see me,
yeah,
and they said, I thought I was at my own funeral. They were saying things to me that I was like, I had no idea I had this much, of an impact on these
yeah,
little learners that's so important, 5 and under. And so that's my inspiration. If I can help them and I have an idea and it's working, that's what I do. So I have some other things lined up coming your way. So I'm excited about that. I have yes. So right now I have I have a chapter book with 3 chapters in it, all about helping children. I have a one's about sharing. What is it like when you go to school? If you're an only child and you've never been in a setting like we have in our classroom, what is it like to go to school with, 20, 24 other kids, and now you have to share things, and that's hard for them. So I have a chapter about that. I have a chapter about something very simple that a lot of people don't think about, is the cafeteria. When they go to the cafeteria, it's not like at home they can leave a cup on the table and get something to eat and graze and eat. You got to sit down, you have to eat. Can you open your lunch? Can you not open your, what do you do? And so all these things. So I help all the parents get ready for the kids for kindergarten. Can they open their lunchbox? Can they open the chip bag? Can they open the fruit? Whatever it is, you have to practice these things. And then with my business, we did childcare business. We did a lot of events for our community, and we did a lot of events for families, and we would rent a bus. And so we had a local school bus, a school bus driver that we hired, and she was with us for about 18 years. She drove us every time we needed to go somewhere, and all the kids and parents would get on the bus. And she's retired now, and she's a very big supporter of mine. And she said, Miss Rose, can you write a book about separation anxiety on the school bus? Because I'm the first person they see before they go to school. And I have to get them on the bus, and I've got 63 children on the bus. So I interviewed her, and the last chapter in that book is about the bus driver, and I'm even going to put her bus number in there so she can go back and look that she's a retired bus driver now, but her efforts weren't forgotten, that they're going to be in a book. So that's really exciting that I'm able to do that. And then another thing is, when I go to these vendors, I have a lot of grandparents that look at my book and say, boy, I wish I had one for my dog. My dog has separation anxiety. I've heard this over and over and over again. I started researching. It's not that much different than when a child's going through separation anxiety. Sometimes it's the fur puppy's parents that are holding the dog back. It's not always the dog. So I learned all of this. So I've already completed a book about a dog and separation anxiety that I can put out there. So hopefully I'll be able to go to pet stores and different places to be able to talk about that. It's not very different than what the children are going through. It's just a little bit different way, but it's all the same, really. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's leading on to different things. That's absolutely great, Roseanne. Really, really good.
Yes.
Well done with that. And can I just ask you, there's a lot of success there, stories from what you're talking about there, and well done. But if you could highlight maybe one thing that stands out that's been successful so far in your writing and what you do, what would that be for people who are listening that motivate them?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
This has been a very big success for me as a children's author. Is 4 years ago, I met an Amish family in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I don't know how many listeners know about the Amish, but they're very keep to yourself kind of people. And this family had 7 children. And I told her about my childcare business. We have 8 children, and she was intrigued on how many ages I had so close together. Her 7 children are kind of spread out in age, 3 to 15 or something like that. And so I was talking with her, and we just clicked. And her daughter at the time, that was 12. My name is Roseanne. Her name is Suzanne. And she came to me and she said, would you like to be my pen pal? I would like to write to you. And I said, absolutely. I would love to be your pen pal. I think it would be cute to read her letter to our classroom and hang it up. And we get to, write back and forth and send little things to her. And I asked her mom, can I send her a birthday gift on her birthday? And her mom would say, yes, you can send her. She wanted a sleeping bag. So I went and got her a sleeping bag. So we wrote, and for 4 years, we've been writing. So I went over to see her last month, and the family invited us over, and I went to see them, and I brought them a copy of my book. And the kids grabbed the book. I have never, ever, ever have seen a child look at a book like they did. It was like they looked at the book for the first time. They felt it. They opened it. They were looking at the pictures. Then when it came to the journal, the little girl, she must have been around 8 years old. She came over to me and she said, can you tell me what this is? And I said, that's a journal. She didn't know what a journal was. So I had explained to her what a journal was. They're the thoughts for the day. How are you doing? How are you feeling? And this is a journal the families can work together. And the way that they just held that book brought tears to my eyes. I was like, oh my goodness, I have never had a child be touched by a book the way they did. So I pulled the mom aside and I said, do you ever have any visitors at your Amish school? And she said, well, we go to visit and family can visit, but we don't have outsiders in the school. And I said, if I abided by all your rules, whatever they are, you want plain clothes, no cameras, whatever, would I be able to get into your Amish school and speak to the children about my book? Because I was so excited how excited they were. That, I mean, it had nothing to do with money or selling books. It was the look in their eye just brought tears to my eyes. And the mother said, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to get you into this Amish schools. It's never been done before. We don't know of anybody ever going into an Amish school. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so blessed and honored. She said, I want you to come back in August for her 16th birthday. So we are going to an Amish birthday party, which I've never done before, for the 16th birthday of our pen pal. And to me, that is the biggest compliment and the biggest success so far, is that somebody that doesn't believe what I believe and doesn't is not raised the way we were raised, we can still come together as a community
Brilliant.
and help
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to get into these schools, whether they buy the books or not. That's not where we're going. I'm getting the story out, and I can leave a book in their classroom, and hopefully they will read it, and that'll help them. So I'm just so blessed. So many things have happened like that, but I would say that's the biggest one, because that's very unusual. And I tell people, oh, they let you take pictures of the house. Yeah, but they wouldn't let me take pictures inside. They wouldn't let me take pictures of them. And they invite our family over. They invite our grandkids over. Bring your grandkids over for dinner. We're just so excited to be able to share a table with them and share our experiences with them. And that's okay. And how they just take us in and open the door to us. That's very, very unusual. And so we respect that. And that's very exciting for us.
That's a great story, Roseanne. That's brilliant. Yeah. Thanks a lot for sharing that, everybody. That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. Can I just ask you as well? What ways have you found the best way of promoting your book? I know you mentioned a few ways already, especially with getting your book in Spanish as well. That's a great thing to do, because I'm thinking of getting my book in a different language as well. So maybe we can talk about that again sometime. But what way have you found the best ways to promote your book so far, and what you do?
Well, I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still learning. So one of the things that I do is speaking engagements. When I do the speaking engage, I started as a vendor, and I love doing the vending, but I like speaking with people. I love getting the message out that you're not alone. Your child that's having the temper tantrum, and you can't get them dressed today, and you're dropping them off in their pajamas. That's okay. Other families are going through the same thing. It's not a big deal. I don't, as long as you have something on your body, I don't care what you're wearing, as long as, you're coming to school and they're thriving and they're happy. I don't care what they're wearing. A lot of parents are apologizing for things like that. So I can speak at engagements, and I'm hoping to be able to do more and more of those as I polish up my speaking. Social media is taking off a little bit slow for me. I'm not out there like a lot of other people are, but we're slowly getting into it. So
yeah,
that's a little tricky because I'm not real techie, but I'll have to, post on Facebook and Instagram, and then I go to TikTok, and it's a lot of back and forth. But I'm getting it very slowly, and maybe that'll come together somehow. Doing these podcasts, getting the message out, and word of mouth. I didn't realize how many people in my business that whenever I need something, oh, my air conditioner went up, or oh, I need this painted. Oh, I know this guy. I know this, because they're all past people. When I have a child come into my childcare business for, 5 years, you learn the family, you learn the grandparents, you learn the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, you learn everything about that family. It's not like a teacher in a public school where it's 10 months and then they move on to a new child. We learn about these people. So pretty much anything that I need, I can go through my head, my Rolodex in my head, and find somebody of what I need. And I didn't realize I had that until I became an author. So that's one way I do it, is word of mouth, letting people know I'm here to share my story and to help. And they can reach out to me with anything, and I can go and share with them. And other experiences like that. So other than that, like going to bookstores and doing free speaking there, and just talking to children and doing meet and greets. I love to do the meet and greets, and I shared that I play the ukulele. So at Christmas time, we did a festival of trees, and I played Christmas music, and the children all came around, and we did a little craft, and then I was able to, and that makes it fun for them than just coming and sitting and reading. Try to make it fun. I did a Facebook Live with a company from New York, and I played my ukulele to take up some time, and I read my book. And when it was over, they they liked my book, but they said, "When's that ukulele coming back on? We want to hear
Brilliant.
the songs
Yeah.
before we go to bed." So
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. So I've done a couple of them. I don't look at myself as a singer, but when you're 4 years old and younger, and you don't get a lot of music, they think I'm just so great. When I play my ukulele, they think they're getting something great. So all of those things put together, I think, is driving my success a little bit
Yeah.
closer on
Yeah.
getting to
Yeah.
where I want to go, wherever that is. I'm not really sure what the end goal is, but I just keep thriving and moving forward.
I love that. Like talent stacking is great because you're stacking the talents together there with your music and your writing. So that's absolutely a great story. Well done.
Yeah,
Great stuff. Yeah.
it's unique. It's
Yeah.
unique.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Right. No, that's amazing, Roseanne. Thanks a million for coming on and sharing all your great work. It's amazing, really, really good. And I wish you all the success going forward with everything you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And this is my first podcast, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I hope to do many more.
Right. So yeah, no, it was great having you. Absolute pleasure. So Roseanne Hinch, everybody, thanks a lot for coming on the podcast, and I wish you all the success going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks everyone for tuning into the Mark's Motivational Podcast, another Authors Tuesday with Roseanne Hinch. So make sure you check out the show notes. I'm going to share all Roseanne's links on the show notes. Make sure you buy her books and keep an eye on all the stuff she's going to be doing. I'm going to share all the links going forward. So thanks again for listening, and join us next time for Mark's Motivational Podcast. Thanks a lot. Good night. Thanks, Roseanne.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, Mark here. Thank you for watching another episode of my Authors Tuesday podcast. I recently published a book of children's stories called The Adventures of Larry Lamppost and Friends. The book began life as bedtime stories I wrote for my own children. If you'd like to purchase my book, follow the link in the description box below. By buying my book, you are also supporting my podcast series for authors, which is giving a voice to writers in Ireland and across the world.